Well, it's time now to check in on weather with Nebraska Extension Ag Climatologist and Market Journal Chief Meteorologist Eric Hunt. Eric, what's on your mind this week when it comes to weather?
Well, thanks, Bryce. I think we should be looking forward to some thunderstorms across central and eastern Nebraska on Sunday. More on that in a little bit. Let's start off like we usually do with the drought monitor. Some good news to report this week. We've had more removal of exceptional drought and a lot of improvement across western Nebraska. Again, unfortunately, we still have some D4 across Clay, Hamilton, Merrick, and Nance counties. The good news, though, is we've seen a lot of removal of D4 across northeastern Nebraska. And if you were in southeastern Wayne, northeastern Stanton, or very northwestern Cumming counties, this is the first time that you've been out of D4 since August 30th of last year. So that's something to celebrate. That's good news. Things are starting to look up even there. Again, in places where we are seeing D4 conditions across eastern Nebraska, this is from Clay County. This is very unfortunate to see in mid-August. Again, this is from Jenny Reese, an extension educator. But for the most part, with the exception of some of this part of the state, we've actually seen a lot of improvement across the last 3 months, and then particularly across western Nebraska, we saw a lot of this improvement late spring, early summer. But again, this just shows that we have actually really started making some meaningful improvement across parts of eastern Nebraska. So this is, generally speaking, good news. It's also incredibly good news. A lot of times we don't get this kind of improvement in the summer. Vegetation conditions, again, very, very healthy vegetation, waste conditions here across most of western Nebraska. Things generally are pretty good in the southeastern part of the state, in the very northeastern corner. Again, our poorest conditions tend to be kind of between Grand Island and York and further south toward the Kansas border, where we've seen D3 and D4 conditions pretty much the entire summer. I want to show you this map of the 1 month change in veg dry. I think this is important because it really kind of shows you where maybe things are going in terms of crop yields. Again, this is not a perfect predictor of crop yields, but I think it's encouraging that we have seen improvement across a lot of the eastern part of the state, especially including the rain-fed southeastern part of the state. The one area of the state we haven't seen improvement or have seen some degradation is here across parts of south central Nebraska, where we've seen some of the worst stress and the worst photos. And across the Corn Belt, we've definitely seen some degradation across eastern Iowa and up into Minnesota, where it's been very dry. In terms of 7-day precipitation, very good precipitation amounts. Wet week in North Platte, Dundee, and Hitchcock counties. Some places had 4 to 5 inches of precipitation. Driest places are kind of the Highway 34 corridor between Seward and going east into Cass County. Soil moisture conditions across the state mostly are about where they should be or on the wet side for this time of year. And in terms of our week ahead highlights, again, so I think we have a very good chance of precipitation across central and eastern Nebraska on Sunday, kind of throughout the day. There might be a couple different rounds of thunderstorms. There is some severe storm risk, so I would pay attention to your local forecast carefully on Sunday. I do think this is probably the best chance of widespread precipitation throughout the week, though. I think we're going to be quite dry in the western third of the state this week. I think things look quite good on Monday. Seasonal temperatures will probably be the rule midweek. Probably warmer as you get the Panhandle. I think we'll definitely have some days well into the 90s. It looks like we should have a cold front coming through the state somewhere around Thursday, maybe early Friday, and I think that will really knock our temperatures back again for a couple of days. And I think we could even look to some lows in the 50s as we get into next weekend. Unfortunately, I think that will be somewhat short-lived as models are starting to get a little bit more bullish on building a ridge back into the central part of the U.S. What that probably means is that we're going to start seeing temperatures that are a bit above average or maybe even somewhat above average for a while. Again, this might be something that would persist into Labor Day weekend, and I think we are starting to see a bit of a drier signal as well.